Welcome back, Troglodytes, to the Trogly's Guitar Show. Today we have one of the most beautiful 68 reissues that I have ever seen. Now, I filmed my reaction to opening this guitar during my unboxing series, and it really was something that I was not expecting. And there's even more secrets that lie beneath this guitar than I let on during that video. So make sure you stay tuned for this whole episode. So first off, the topic, what on earth is a 68 reissue? Okay, so when the Les Pauls went away in the 50s, they got switched over to the SG shape. When they came back, the year was about 1968. So these reissues kind of pay tribute to those guitars, but honestly, they don't look anything like 68s. 68s would have witch hat knobs, their headstock would look very different, they would have Kluson waffle back style tuners. So I'm not really sure why Gibson even calls these 68 reissues besides the main specs. And those specs that differentiate this from just a regular custom shop custom is it will have a long neck tenon, an ABR1 bridge drilled directly into the top. Your pickups will also be different. These guys are loaded with 57 classics in this era versus the 490R, 498Ts. A lightweight aluminum tailpiece. More historically correct plastics. You can see the truss rod is significantly different. And their serial numbers will be a little bit different. They'll be stamped into the headstock. Now, other things can vary from example to example. Personally, I find 68s usually have like a medium neck profile to them. But the biggest thing to keep in mind is mainly the historic long neck tenon and ABR1 bridge. Now, being a guy that's owned tons of like the USA customs as well as some custom shop customs, I will say 68s are a step above. They are significantly different in the way they feel, but I've always just preferred the feel of a 68. So I think if you're shopping for a really nice custom, I would suggest going something like the 68 if you want a traditional maple top, or if you want a cool mahogany top, go for the 57 reissue. But what is extra special about this one? Well, I don't think there's any Cranberry Quilt top real 68s out there. This is kind of a creative liberty here. But I actually featured a green one of these with a quilt top on my Rocker Knot series. So this is what I'm going to call Cranberry Quilt because it's not really wine red. It kind of has like a wine vibe to it, but I would best describe this as like a nice like purplish pink cranberry hue, and I think it works perfectly on this. But this instrument in general just really boggles me why it's even still considered a 68, because this instrument is actually chambered. Now, they definitely didn't chamber 68s. So we've got funky cranberry quilt top and a chambered body. I really don't consider this a 68 reissue anymore, besides having once again, the tenon and the ABR1. But now that I've got all your guys' feathers ruffled up here, don't worry. This is just like that 59 reissue that was green, that was chambered. It's slightly different from like the USA chambering. Now I'm with you guys. Some chambered guitars, they sound terrible. Some chambered guitars sound awesome. And sometimes that just boils down example to example, but sometimes it's how the chambering is done. This guitar is constructed very similar to like a Les Paul Elegant, where they just kind of have a center block in here, but then everything else is open. Now in the USA type of chambering, it's not all connected, and that's, I think, makes a significant difference in the sound. So all these custom shop chambered reissue stuff, I've actually liked them, surprisingly enough. They're fairly lightweight. We'll see this one on a scale in a second, but it was kind of an interesting surprise on this one. But the other thing I really like about this guitar, look at this beautiful top. And now look at the back. Some people might consider this an ugly thing. I mean, a cranberry top and then plain mahogany on the back. But I personally really dig this vibe because I hate it when you have a nice, beautiful top and then they just give you like a black back where you can't see the beautiful wood grain. I mean, there's not much going on the back of this one besides some dancing here. But the side profile view, I think, is just beautiful. So now that we know a little bit more about 68 custom shop reissues, let's go ahead and throw this one on the bench and take a look at its parts. Inside this guitar, we can see it's equipped with Gibson 57 Classic pickups. They have the patent applied for silkscreen and your date code here. The bridge pickup was made a few weeks later than the neck, but they are the same. One small thing to note here is this screw is just like stuck in the pickup ring for some reason. Like it'll still screw in and out, but it's just there. Pickup readings, the bridge is ohming out at about 7.7 k ohms, and the neck position at a little bit hotter at 7.73. Middle, just for fun, 3.86. Inside our pickup cavities, you can see it is a long neck tenon, and I don't see any other additional markings. Bridge-wise, we have the Gibson ABR1. It is gold with metal saddles and reads Gibson ABR1. And the bridge is lightweight aluminum, so it nearly weighs nothing. The knobs you'll find on most 68 reissues are these black reflector top hats. They also have the thumb bleeders. Due to the absolutely insane top on this custom, they did not install a pick guard on it at the factory. There are no holes to be found. So as we've discussed, maple top, mahogany body, and ebony fretboard. This one doesn't look to have been played too much. I'm not seeing really any fret wear. Maybe a little bit within our first few frets, but definitely nothing that will have to be addressed very soon at all. Small thing to mention though, is you can see the truss rod, the threads are showing just a little bit past the top, so you definitely have a long way to go with this truss rod, but it's definitely good to know that it's at that state. The truss rod cover itself is a little bit special too. You can see it's definitely stylized differently. It has a more bold white outline. We've got our custom block inlay, and then our Gibson mother of pearl logo with Grover tuners. We have a 1.69 inch nut width, and by the 12th fret, 2.06. Neck depth at first fret, 0.92 inches. This one gets really chunky, 1.05 inches at the 12th. And as usual, a 24 3/4 inch scale length. And now into the back control cavities where all the fun begins. I was suspicious when I first picked this guitar up, but this 100% confirms it. This is actually a fairly rare chambered 68 reissue. We can see all the chambering. It just kind of goes around in a circle. And then here you can see the wiring. And I like how you can see that quilt maple top on through the back here. Same thing with the toggle switch cavity. You can see it continues around there. Strap button wise, somebody has put shawlers on it. Beautiful wood grain on the back. Then you also have a beautiful natural colored neck, your Gibson custom shop silk screen, your Grover tuners again, and this style of serial number. This particular example weighs 8 pounds, 4.3 ounces. Now that we know what the inside of this guitar looks like, let's go ahead and hear how it sounds. now it's time to review the condition. This instrument is in really good shape. It's not mint condition. You're going to have some scratches and light nicks and dings here or there, but I don't see anybody really being offended by the condition of this one. The ebony fretboard and frets were just cleaned and polished, so you're good to go there. Again, I didn't see any major fret wear or anything that you'll have to worry about. Now, when you get it in the light just right, you can kind of see some lines forming along the binding of the neck, which is 100% common, but it's just where the binding ends and the wood truly meets. And it's not like a crack you can feel or anything, it's just how the binding steps in a little bit farther into the neck. You normally don't even see it, but I don't want somebody to be surprised by that. Top of the instrument, we'll run the light along here. What I kind of like is the lacquer has kind of like absorbed into the wood grain of the guitar at certain angles. So that's kind of interesting. But you've got a few small nicks and dings here on the top. But nothing that I felt really took away from the beauty of this two-piece quilted maple. Your gold's in pretty good shape. You've got a very light amount of wear on it. Back of the headstock, serial number 004348, making this a 2010 model. This instrument was collector owned, so I don't think he played it that much, but man, that guy had a really nice collection. Unfortunately, after I got this one, there was a little bit of a misunderstanding between us, and I let two just as beautiful of guitars go because I thought he was offering me other guitars at those prices. But I did pick up one more from this seller, so that will definitely be a cool review. But, I mean, as far as the condition goes on this one, we do not have a lot of wear. You've just got some minor marks here and there. Take a look around the side. Here's another difference for a 68. They'll have the thin binding in the cutaway, so you can see through to the maple top. And just a few light marks around the edges here. Plastic output jack plate is another difference. Schaller strap buttons. But overall, I mean, if you're just looking for something that you can play, yeah, you might actually be too scared to play this one. It's in such good condition, but it's also there for your collection. Blacklight time. This one has a nice, beautiful glow around the top, and even the binding is glowing a little bit, which is kind of cool. Take a look around the edges real quick. I don't see any stand marks or anything. Back is also looking good here. And now the neck. Yeah, so everything looks the way I would expect to see on a 2010. This instrument retains its original case and certificate of authenticity. You can see you've got quite a few scuffs, nicks, and dings. I would say this is the worst one right here. You can see the Tolex peeling up a little bit. But for the most part, I mean, the case looks pretty clean. You have all 5 functioning latches, including one on the back here. And the inside is kind of a matching dark burgundy material. Good heel support, double neck rest, and here's where all of your case candy will be sleeping. But let's take a look at this. You've got the case key, the Gibson Gold Warranty pamphlet, which is filled out for this 68 Custom Q. You do have a pickguard if you wish to install it. You can see this is also different style from like the regular USA or custom shop versions. This is a tag that says the COA is inside the case. I think they normally come like attached right here. These are the original strap buttons if you want to use them instead of the Schallers. I'm not sure if they use the original screws for the Schaller ones, but they are not in here. It's just the buttons and the 2 screws for the pickguard here. And then this is your certificate of authenticity in here, 68 Custom Quilt top. If you think you might be interested in being the next owner of this beautiful quilt top 68 reissue, feel free to check out the link in the description that will take you to the Reverb for Sale page. Thank you, Troglodytes, for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.